Slot 3, Borgmeier.
He's undeniably one of the most recognizable athletes in the sport of long drive. Martin Borgmeier is the reigning world champion, and we got the chance to follow him at the 5th stop on the 2023 World Long Drive Tour in Memphis.
That is a pretty decent start.
You got Martin Borgmeier, Kyle Berkshire, Justin James, the best in the business since 2016. JJ and Kyle are a little bit more reserved, but when you're looking at like from a global brand, Martin's got the personality, he's funny, he's tall, he's athletic, he's loud, and he's extremely talented.
Phenomenal social media presence. He gets noticed everywhere we go in public. A lot of that's not a mistake, and credit to him, he's worked really hard at building his brand away from the grid.
He roots for people. He's out here after he's done hitting with his own, camera out, making videos, promoting the sport. Without guys like him, I don't think that we would necessarily have the ceiling that we do have and that we will eventually get to.
That's in play. Well, I really want to do well this time, but preparation's not been great. Denver worked perfectly well. I felt my swing. Actually, I got stronger throughout the event and eventually took second to Zach Holton. Well, over the last 2 weeks, I was only focusing on content. I just came from Munich, did not have a long time to adjust to the time zone because I was doing the BMW Pro-Am for some amazing content, which is super important for me right now. I play golf with Gareth Bale, who's a European football, how you call it over here, soccer legend, right? So played with him and 2 pros that played in the tournament. Actually, one amateur that just played his first event. And just playing golf with them and showcasing what we can do as long drivers and how like all the speed stuff also benefits the golf game or can benefit a golf game is just really a really cool part of what long drive can provide. Well, as a long driver, right now, you can only really monetize all of this when you utilize long drive as a basis to then grow the content creation game. Based on what we're doing right now, just like this video, I hope that it's growing to a point that more people can actually make a living with long drive. So preparation's been mediocre, but we're trying to make the best of it.
I actually like when Martin's a little bit behind the 8 ball, because when he's behind the 8 ball, he actually becomes himself and he gets stronger and stronger and stronger as an event goes on. And you've watched him win championships coming from the back of the pack. He's so good and so talented that he does better when his back's against the wall. And that's why he's got a world championship, he's got multiple wins, and he's gonna continually be there late in tournaments to get W's.
Marty, Borgie,
Mr.
it's
Brett.
an absolute honor and a privilege to be in the presence of your greatness. We're getting a lot of comments about the shorts are actually not as tight as they normally are. What's going on?
Yeah, I got to pull them up a little bit.
My long drive journey in the US started in 2019, where I played the full world long drive season, and I got to know all these amazing guys, and they became really close friends to me. And I mean, I'm kind of outgoing, so I feel more comfortable when I'm socializing with all these guys. So I try to get my mindset right by talking to people, and that's what I enjoy. That's why I come out here, right? Because it's not only an opportunity to do well for me in long drive, it's also an opportunity to, well, meet amazing people. Josh and I met in 2019 at Atlantic City, and we had sushi together, and we only got better friends ever since.
We knew each other through competition, but when the world was shut down, we were trying to connect with our long drive buddies. It was a lot of FaceTime calls with Martin, talking about technique, talking about swing.
In the meanwhile, we also became business partners. So we're running hitbombs.com together.
And then over the last 3 years, once he was able to come back over and compete, we just started traveling together. We're very similar in age. He has a son, I have a kid, 2 daughters, so we're very relatable in that sense.
We very much share the same philosophy in the golf swing, in terms of content creation and everything that comes with it.
We love long drive, we love working hard, and we love competing. So
it's time for Borgmeier to get ready for that competition. He'll be teeing off in Group 2 of 4, looking for his 2nd title of the 2023 season.
In the very beginning of my career, I mean, I've always been healthy, thank God, but my weak point was definitely my wrists. So usually I start just with a couple chips or pitches, flop, stuff like that, just to warm up my wrists a little bit. Like out here, it's not that severe because right now it's about 105 degrees, but at least it feels like 105. But then I just did a couple irons, and because I tend to overdraw it, overhook it. That's why I usually start with a couple cut feels with irons, and then I switch to drivers. But the most important bit with that is actually just to get my wrists warmed up properly. And the beautiful part here is they actually have flags out on this turf. I mean, I don't really know the altitude here. It's like, I don't think it's anything major. I don't really feel it. Balls don't go that far. LaSalle, Denver, Colorado is so high. Balls go way longer, but also balls don't go that far left and right, so dispersion is much tighter. But at the same time, when you hit it that far, the grid is getting, like, just visually, the grid is getting a lot tighter as well because you just hit it so far. And balls that stay in play at around 400 ROB at 460. So that kind of evens it out a little bit. But yeah, interestingly today, I would say it's even a little bit into wind. Yeah, it's a little bit into wind. So I don't expect big numbers today. It's like probably, I would say 370, 380 with this wind is a big ball. 360s is probably gonna win most of the sets. So it's nothing crazy today in terms of numbers, but long drive is long drive. The launch conditions are always the same. And one skill in long drive is actually to know the numbers, to be able to tweak the numbers based on what you see and what you get back, and have some sort of a baseline idea what's perfect out here. So this is pretty much, especially with this wind, a low to mid launch grid with like pretty low spin. Oh, hammered. Yeah, today, then I'm looking for like a swing feel, because honestly, I've done this so many times and I'm still excited and nervous every single time I step on the tee box. It's so great. I love it, absolutely love it. And out here on the driving range, I'm looking for a swing feel that works. And then sometimes I go out there, everything works fine. And then sometimes I'm out there and I'm freaking out and nothing works. And then I gotta go back and grind it out. And it's just so cool because the mental approach to the whole thing can be so different. And I mean, eventually it's just hitting golf balls, right? But yeah, there's just so much going on in the swing. And sometimes I have a feeling the more you work on your swing, the more thoughts you have, and that's not always beneficial. So just hit it pretty much is, I guess, the right statement for long drive, or should be. So for me today, I try to keep it simple, steep takeaway, a little patience at the top, and just like roll through it. Like that. Yeah, driving range is easy. Okay, wind. It's a little bit off the left, but we stick to the strategy. That's all I can do right now. Just stick to the strategy. 3 and 3, steep takeaway, patience at the top, pick your point to aim at. And I actually try to start, I think, middle of the grid.
2022 world champion, ended up winning Mesquite Volume 1, took second place to Zach Holton in Denver a couple weeks ago, but Marty Borgmeier mentioned that his shorts are a little bit longer and a little bit looser than he wanted today, but looking good. So 360, right, slot 1 seems to be the slot that everybody's winning in.
Hammer it a bit more. Wow, Maurice's driver over there sounds weird.
Martin Borgmeier, 379. Bryce Mooney, 355. Maurice Allen, 343. Tommy Baltazar at 272. Like it.
Good start. Wasn't as shaky as I expected it to be.
For their first set.
No, that was a good start. Like 379, 200 points. That's all I need, right? Because this is the first time I hit on this grid, and I'm just trying to figure out, get a feel for the grid. Those good balls of mine were both on the right. I pushed it a little bit, but they were pretty stable up in the air. So on the next set, now I have a big break actually, around 20 minutes. And then next time I want to try the left side a little bit and see what it does. I can tell you one thing, it's freaking humid. I'm dripping everywhere. And I'm not wearing a lot of clothing either.
Marty Borgmeier, 240 in slot number 2. We talk about it all the time. So if this is the first time you've ever tuned in, Martin Borgmeier is the #1 seed going into this tournament, or this bracket, so he hits in slot #1, and then he has a 20 to 25 minute break. Huge break in between. This is the longest one he'll have. So it's either an advantage or a disadvantage, you know, by taking that much time off. If you have a rough first set, then you have time to readjust. If you have a great first set, you got to wait a long time to hit next. Marty's stepped on it, and he's got it in the tank when he needs it. But, you know, guys like him and JJ, they can throttle themselves, and even Kyle, but Kyle's hit that reserve, or he looked really fast today.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Pops. Slot 3, here we are. Oh, Reed. How's slot 3? Is it any good?
I don't know, it's okay.
It's okay. So we got 100, 500. That's putting us through. So 500, that's actually okay. Should be pretty safe to make it through. So that means we can just, for the next 2 sets, we can just step on the tee box and freaking whack golf balls. That's what it's all about, right? Whack it. Maybe I try a different strategy and just go with a softer shaft with a TPT 6 times, so I can just go and bang it. Boom, 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 boom. I think that could be a good test for tomorrow, to just get a feel for what kind of suits me best right now. Also mentally. A little reminder, strategy is pump golf balls, yeah? Right, that's the strategy.
And Martin taking his time, as well he should. He likes it. This one's straight too. 222.3, 2022 world champ with a laser. Right down the boulevard. 13 launch, 2,500 spin, 188 in the air. That's a good profile golf ball. And the only, well, there's a couple miles per hour different in ball speed, but that ball was dead straight for Martin. And he said he's taking his time, and you can tell he's stepping on the gas here. And honestly, when he swings harder, he hits it straighter. he really does.
It's so good though.
You know? And we always talk about Martin just gets tougher and tougher as the event goes on. And you know, he's a guy that loves having the camera on him in crunch time, and he steps up and delivers. And really fun to watch him hit. So world #2 and slot #4, getting after it. Seb Twiddell with a 338. And if I was Seb, you know, he doesn't necessarily have to hit too many balls. This isn't going to alter the outcome of the event right now, because all 4 of these guys are in. And if he's a little sore, he's hitting because he has to, but he doesn't necessarily need to.
Oh, that was a close one. That strategy did not work that well, but at least we got something in. We won it. I'm sorry, dude. Feeling good. Gotta clean it up over here. We're done for today. So tonight, all I'm looking for is sushi, as you know. Right? More sushi. It's always like carb loading. We gotta load up those carbs.
Yeah, the other thing about Martin is he eats sushi in Memphis, Tennessee, because he's so superstitious. So that's a little bit strange.
Yeah, the sushi story is a fun one, because we started that kind of ritual in Atlantic City in 2019, where we went to this all-you-can-eat sushi place, and it was amazing sushi, and we went there 3 times in a row because they had like all-you-can-eat sushi for 18 bucks, and it was amazing. We started going to all these sushi places and trying out different sushi places at all these venues we've been to. So wherever we go, we always look for the first good sushi place to, well, carb up, eat all the rice, and get that energy up for the next day.
When I'm in Memphis, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna eat some barbecue. But the sushi aside, I generally like to hear what he has to say, but I don't really trust him when it comes to food.
It's good to be through. 900 points is, I guess, is a really good start. I didn't hit my very best A game, but even a B+ made it, and now I just gotta analyze what I gotta do to improve tomorrow, and then hopefully improve and do the same again. The big question is, spikes or no spikes? I don't know. Yesterday I went without spikes, spikeless. So I think there's one way to figure it out. Try. And if it doesn't go well, there's something I can change. Right? It's one factor. So I try spikes. They also fit the belt, right? It's white, beautiful.
You got the blue on blue though. Back.
I'm the blue on blue and the blue. Oh, and I got a golf ball in there as well. So interesting because over the last couple of years, I figured I was trying to figure out what kind of factors are involved to being ready, being fast, and like all that, because on different days I saw different results, also in practice. And then I found like there's something to the CNS readiness, like how ready your central nervous system is to actually fire. And I didn't really find an indicator yet, but maybe how heavy the club feels when I start going. But then there's always exemptions, like, yeah, it felt like super heavy in the beginning and I was super fast in the end. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But right now I just feel a little, everything feels heavy. This is rough conditions. Yeah, I mean, I prefer this over like cold weather and rain, but still it's like, it's not great. A little bit, I mean, it's a little too humid. A little drier would be good. But okay, first drive, trying to dial in the first swing feel, steep takeaway, patient at the top. Slot one, and I could not see my range balls fly at all because it's like the white clouds and the white balls just don't work that well. Everything's wet, my hands, my arms, my forehead, and someone's in the middle of the grid. Okay, wind check. No wind down here, flags. Go a little bit left to right, actually. It's not that much. So something's happening there for the wind, for sure. So I try to pick a spot just in the middle of the grid, I guess. So you got some sunscreen there. I know that's chalk, right? Yeah, you're a smart man. You're a smart man with a chalk. So okay, usual strategy, 3 and 3. 3 with this, 3 with that. And there's a plastic bag right in the middle of the grid. I don't know what that is. But they might use it we can use it as a target.
Getting us started. Martin Borgmeier, Bobby Ray.
All right, let's see it, boys. Come on.
Gentlemen, the grid is
go.
clear. Fire away.
We got a target right in the middle of the grid. The wind's helping. Push it over there.
Yesterday actually went pretty well. I was not expecting to swing the golf club, especially long drive club, that well because prep was not great. Yeah, we're starting off and it's not a really good start. Didn't hit a golf ball very well. I kind of mishit it a little bit here and there, kind of spinny golf balls right down the middle that didn't really cut it. So went 359 there and got 50 points. So that's not a good start. Also, like psychology-wise, it's not really what I'm looking for.
Right now, it looks like Drew Cody's going to take down the set at 363. Wow. Bobby Ray, 362. Martin Borgmeier,
good job,
50,
Drew Cody.
59.
Excellent. Good
Scott
start.
Littlefield with no marks.
In the next set, I didn't really know what to do. I mean, I set my strategy for a set every time before I go there. And sometimes that helps, but sometimes it backfires. And I stick to the strategy and I'm thinking like, is this right? I'm struggling, like, does this really cut it? Is this the right format for this set? And then I went OB, and going into the third set with 50 points only is kind of unusual. It's a situation that I don't face a lot, but all you got to do then is just stick to something, stick to one swing thought, and execute. That's really what it's about, because I know when I hit my ball, when I hit my best ball, I'm tough to beat. And I mostly get those 200 points, but this was a shaky one.
Borgmeier finds himself in a dogfight to get into the round of 16. Every competitor has a close eye on the standings as the top 8 of 16 from his group will advance.
I was so pissed off. I was like, God, okay. So what we do now is we just stick to what you do best and what you do in practice all the time. You just whack golf balls, okay? So I stuck to this one shaft, to the TPT 21 high, which is super soft. It was like, okay, steep takeaway, patient at the top, and just go whack it. Because most of the time, that's the best strategy, because that's what I practice all the time, right? Hitting golf balls as hard as I can, and as soon as I try to hold back, I actually get worse. So I just try to hit as hard as I can, and that paid off.
Borgmeier hit a shot. We talked about hitting a shot. He went 371 with a high draw.
That's a shot.
Crisis averted. Borgmeier advances to the round of 16, but he'll have to take down a close friend in a do-or-die scenario if he hopes to advance.
Good news is one of us is advancing, one of us isn't.
Our first time this year was, the first time we met this year in competition was in Mesquite. And in that first tournament, we met in the quarterfinals, and I beat him by 1 yard. So it's, I don't know, we keep facing each other. It's ridiculous, actually. Like last year, we met 3 times in championship matches as well. In Denver, for example, where I won. And well, it's weird because I meet him so many times, and he's such a good friend of mine. So those matches are always special.
Martin is back against the wall.
Yes.
This is where he's at his best. So we're going to probably see 222 to 225 from Martin right away, if not a 226, 227 ball. All right, so the matchup against the boys here, Koch and Borgmeier. Say we
guys know how to win. Josh Koch just won in Germany a month ago.
Yep.
This is going to be 2 good friends going at it. Right? Ooh, Martin.
This one's flirting down the left side, but let's look at the ball speed numbers for Martin. 222.8 as expected. We said we would think he'd be 222 to 225. Koch has been a little bit on the slower end, had some back issues yesterday to where he just tried to conserve energy, but that goes to show you how good of a ball striker Josh Koch is,
for sure.
And that you can win at 208 to 210. But right
100%.
now, and so the one thing that you know, that I would say if Koch had an advantage in is his ball flight. He goes predominantly left to right. So there's his left to right. It's missed.
Yeah.
Borgmeier at 354. Koch is climbing the ladder.
Josh just hit a good one there.
Great ball.
14. Yeah, that's a good ball.
That is a really good ball from Josh Koch.
That is was that 134 feet in the air? Yeah,
Beautiful
I like that ball. I really do. That's going to be past 354. Josh knows he still needs to step on the gas, right? Ooh. 217. How fast is that?
214.8. Good
yeah,
launch,
that's
though.
a really good ball.
Looks like Martin's going to go OB left.
Yeah.
Oh, look, Martin picked up at 365, but it looks like Josh Koch, the boys, you know, they're just beating each other up on the tee box against each other.
Always.
And, you know, Martin gets him the first tournament, second tournament, and Koch gets him on the last ball. Now it looks like Koch is going to take the win here at 368.
Yep.
It's always weird to compete with him, like on that level.
We were talking on the range, I think in the last 365 days, that's our 5th time going up against each other in match play. I think that might be the first time I actually got him, so it was good to have that happen.
I know that he didn't feel great, so I knew if I just hit a half decent golf ball, like 220 plus, I'm tough to beat, but I couldn't find the face on the straight ball. So
it sucks anytime you're sending your friend home, but at the end of the day, it's competition. You're out there to feed your own family first, and we could be friends later. So, but happy to get this one.
What I respect about Josh Koch is Josh doesn't care about who he's hitting against on the tee box, especially if he's going up against Martin or Martin against Koch. And one of my favorite sets of the entire year was when Koch on the last ball knocked out Martin in Mesquite when Koch didn't even need to hit a ball. So you talk about the integrity of the game. Josh Koch didn't step off the gas, and at the end of the day, he eliminated a guy that could win every single tournament that he enters. And that's what I really truly like about, you know, these formats. These guys are coming out there and they're competing from ball 1 until their last ball in set number 5, or even in a heads-up match. So watching Koch go up against Martin, yes, they're boys, but when they compete against each other, they're focused on their task at hand and they want to win.
I'm spending the next 10 days in Wisconsin actually with him. So I know what to do and how to prepare for Port Rowan, because Port Rowan is going to be completely different. It's going to be a super narrow grid. It's going to be sloping. It's going to be more of a golf hole, more of a golf shot that I have to hit as well. So it's going to be, well, probably the most challenging grid that we're facing this year. So I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to that, but always up for a challenge.
The next challenge will present itself in the tour's only stop north of the border in Port Rowan, Ontario.